My name is London, and I'm 32 years old. Right now, I'm sitting in my cozy apartment, surrounded by stacks of medical bills and faded photographs, each one a testament to the journey I've been on. For the past 5 years, my life has revolved around one central consuming mission: finding a cure, or at least an answer, for my mom, Eleanor. She's 60 now, and she's been battling an invisible enemy that has slowly, relentlessly, stolen her vitality. The doctors, all 100 of them, have failed us. They've offered diagnoses that didn't stick, treatments that didn't work, and a whole lot of shrugs. But I haven't given up, not for a second. The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning, a day etched into my memory with the sharpness of a freshly cut diamond. Mom had just collapsed in the kitchen, her body seizing, her eyes wide with a fear I'd never seen before. That was the moment I realized that if anyone was going to save her, it had to be me. This isn't just a story about illness. It's a testament to the power of a daughter's love, a love that refuses to surrender, even when hope feels like a fleeting whisper. Have you ever felt that overwhelming need to protect someone you love, even when the world tells you it's impossible? Then buckle up, because this is our story. And if you're moved by it, please consider subscribing and sharing to help us spread this message of hope. My mom, Eleanor, had always been the rock of our family. A vibrant, quick-witted woman who could light up a room with her laughter. She was the kind of single mother who made raising 2 kids look effortless. But 5 years ago, a shadow began to fall over her. It started subtly, a persistent fatigue she brushed off as getting older, then a tremor in her hand, a slight slurring of her words. At first, we attributed it to stress, to the relentless demands of her job as a high school English teacher. But the symptoms escalated, each new one a fresh stab of fear in my gut. Her balance became erratic, her memory started to falter, and her once radiant skin took on a grayish pallor. I remember the first doctor's visit, a neurologist who confidently diagnosed her with essential tremor. We left with a prescription and a flicker of hope, but the medication did nothing. The tremors worsened, and new, baffling symptoms emerged. My younger brother, David, who was still in college at the time, tried to be supportive, but I could see the worry etched on his face. He'd call me daily, asking for updates, his voice tight with concern. We went from specialist to specialist, each one offering a new theory, a new treatment plan, but nothing stuck. It was like chasing smoke. The frustration mounted, not just for me, but for Mom. She was a woman who prided herself on her independence, and now she was struggling to perform the simplest tasks. I watched, helpless, as her spirit slowly dimmed, replaced by a quiet desperation. It was a silent battle, fought within the sterile walls of clinics and the echoing silence of our home. It felt like we were trapped in a medical maze, each turn leading to another dead end, another unanswered question. The parade of doctors felt endless, a cruel symphony of misdiagnoses. Each appointment began with a fragile sense of optimism, quickly replaced by the familiar sting of disappointment. "It's Parkinson's," one neurologist declared, prescribing a new cocktail of drugs that left Mom nauseous and even weaker. Then came the possible MS theory, leading to a battery of terrifying MRIs and spinal taps, all of which came back inconclusive. Autoimmune diseases, rare neurological disorders, even a fleeting suggestion of psychosomatic illness. We heard it all. Each diagnosis meant a new specialist, a new set of tests, and another mountain of bills. I kept meticulous notes, a binder overflowing with medical reports, blood work results, and conflicting opinions. I spent hours online, poring over medical journals, joining support groups, desperately searching for a clue, a connection, anything that might make sense of Mom's unraveling health. The financial strain was immense. I'd depleted my savings, and Mom's insurance only covered a fraction of the astronomical costs. I picked up extra shifts at my marketing job, working late into the night, fueled by strong coffee and an unyielding fear. David, after graduating, moved back home to help, taking on part-time jobs and shouldering more of the household responsibilities. He saw the toll it was taking on me, too, the exhaustion in my eyes, the constant tremor in my hands that mirrored Mom's. I remember one particularly brutal appointment where a renowned specialist, after reviewing Mom's extensive medical history, simply shrugged and said, "Sometimes these things just happen. We've exhausted all conventional avenues." His words, delivered with a detached clinical air, felt like a punch to the gut. They solidified a terrifying truth. The medical establishment, with all its vast knowledge and resources, had failed us. It was in that moment, sitting in a sterile waiting room, watching my mother's vacant stare, that a new kind of resolve hardened in my heart. If they couldn't find an answer, I would. The frustration of being unheard, of watching the person you love slip away, ignited a fire within me, pushing me beyond the boundaries of traditional medicine. The realization that conventional medicine had hit a wall was both terrifying and liberating. It meant we had to look elsewhere, beyond the sterile white walls and the disheartening pronouncements. I began to explore alternative therapies, a world that once seemed murky and unscientific. I researched everything: acupuncture, herbal medicine, nutritional therapy, even energy healing. My friends and some family members were skeptical, even outright critical. "London, you're grasping at straws," my aunt once told me, her voice laced with concern. But I couldn't afford to be conventional anymore. I found a functional medicine practitioner, Dr. Lena Hansen, through an online forum. She had a reputation for tackling complex, undiagnosed illnesses, and her approach was radically different. Instead of focusing on symptoms, she delved into Mom's entire life history: diet, environmental exposures, stress levels, emotional well-being. She ran tests that no other doctor had considered: comprehensive gut microbiome analysis, heavy metal toxicity screenings, genetic predisposition panels. The initial consultation with Dr. Hansen was a breath of fresh air. She listened, truly listened, to every detail, every nuance of Mom's journey. She spent hours with us, not rushing, not dismissing. She spoke of the interconnectedness of the body, of how chronic inflammation, gut dysbiosis, and hidden toxins could manifest as a myriad of seemingly unrelated symptoms. It was a language of hope I hadn't heard in years. We started Mom on a strict anti-inflammatory diet, eliminating processed foods, sugar, and gluten. We introduced a regimen of targeted supplements, detox protocols, and gentle therapies. The initial weeks were challenging. Mom's body, accustomed to years of medication and poor nutrition, reacted with fatigue and emotional swings. There were days she resisted, days she cried, feeling like she was losing even more control. But I held firm, reminding her of our goal, of the potential for a breakthrough. David became an invaluable ally, researching recipes, helping with meal prep, and offering endless encouragement. He was the calm in my storm, reminding me to breathe, to find moments of joy amidst the relentless struggle. It was a slow, arduous process, but for the first time in years, I felt a faint flicker of hope. The shift from conventional to holistic felt like stepping into an entirely new world, one where the answers were hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The changes were subtle at first, almost imperceptible, like the first shoots of spring pushing through frozen earth. After about 3 months on Dr. Hansen's protocol, Mom's tremors seemed to lessen ever so slightly. Her words, while still occasionally slurred, became clearer. She started to have more good days than bad. Days where she could hold a conversation without struggling for words, days where she could walk a few steps without relying on her walker. One morning, I walked into the kitchen and found her humming softly as she made herself a cup of tea, something she hadn't done in years. It was a small moment, but it felt monumental, a tiny victory in a long, hard-fought war. These glimmers of hope were enough to fuel my determination, to keep us pushing forward even when progress felt agonizingly slow. We celebrated every small win. The first time she remembered a recent conversation, the day she was able to dress herself completely, the rare but precious moments of her old humor shining through. Dr. Hansen was cautiously optimistic. She explained that healing was not linear, and there would be setbacks. And there were. Days when the fatigue returned with a vengeance, days when the tremors intensified, sending me spiraling into despair. But we learned to ride the waves, to acknowledge the setbacks without letting them derail our progress. We continued the rigorous diet, the supplements, the detoxes, and we added gentle exercises and meditation to Mom's daily routine. I started documenting everything, not just for Dr. Hansen, but for myself, a tangible record of our journey, a testament to the slow, steady climb towards recovery. It was during this period that I also started sharing snippets of our story online, a small, anonymous blog detailing the struggles and the triumphs. The outpouring of support from strangers, many of whom had similar experiences with undiagnosed illnesses, was overwhelming. Their messages of encouragement, their shared stories, made me feel less alone, reminding me that we were part of a larger community of silent sufferers. With each small victory, my belief in the path we'd chosen grew stronger, transforming my fear into a quiet, unwavering conviction. The real breakthrough came not from a new test or a different supplement, but from a forgotten memory. One afternoon, while looking through old family albums with Mom, she pointed to a picture of herself as a child, playing in the backyard of her childhood home. "I remember getting so sick after we moved into that house," she said, her voice surprisingly clear. "Always tired, always feeling off. Doctors said it was just allergies." A forgotten detail, a throwaway line, but it sparked something in my mind. I remembered snippets of conversations from my grandmother about the house, how it had always felt damp, how there was a persistent musty smell in the basement. I started researching the history of that house, digging through old property records and environmental reports. What I uncovered sent a chill down my spine. The house, built in the 1950s, had a history of water damage and, more alarmingly, a documented case of severe mold infestation in the foundation, which had been poorly remediated decades ago. I cross-referenced this with Dr. Hansen's research on environmental toxins and their link to chronic illness. Mold, specifically certain types of mycotoxins, could wreak havoc on the neurological and immune systems, often mimicking the symptoms of other conditions, precisely like Mom's. I shared my findings with Dr. Hansen, who immediately recognized the significance. She ordered specific tests for mycotoxins in Mom's system, and the results were unequivocal. High levels of several dangerous mycotoxins. The missing piece of the puzzle had finally emerged. All those years, all those doctors, all the misdiagnoses. The answer had been there all along, hidden in the very environment Mom had grown up in. It was a moment of profound realization, a mix of anger at the years of suffering and immense relief at finally having a clear target. We had found the invisible enemy. Unraveling the mystery felt like piecing together a complex puzzle, and with each fit, the picture of Mom's path to healing became clearer, more defined. Armed with the definitive diagnosis of mold toxicity, our treatment plan became hyper-focused. Dr. Hansen guided us through a rigorous detoxification protocol specifically designed to chelate the mycotoxins from Mom's body. This involved a combination of binders, specialized supplements, infrared sauna therapy, and even more stringent dietary restrictions. It wasn't easy. The detox process often brought on what Dr. Hansen called Herxheimer reactions, periods where Mom felt worse before she felt better, as the toxins were mobilized from her tissues. There were days of intense fatigue, headaches, and heightened brain fog. But this time we knew why. We had a tangible enemy, a clear path forward. I became Mom's full-time caregiver, taking a leave of absence from my job. David continued to be an incredible support, managing our finances and taking over many of the household chores. We transformed our home into a sanctuary, investing in air purifiers, mold testing kits, and meticulously cleaning every surface to ensure no new exposures. We even moved Mom's bedroom to a part of the house less susceptible to dampness. Slowly, steadily, Mom began to turn a corner. The tremors significantly reduced, her speech became clearer, and her memory improved with remarkable speed. Her laughter, a sound I had feared I would never hear again, began to echo through our home. It wasn't a miraculous, overnight cure. It was a long, arduous climb, one foot in front of the other, day after day. But each step was a testament to her resilience and our unwavering belief. Seeing her able to read a book again, to engage in conversations, to even tend to her small herb garden, filled me with an indescribable joy. We were reclaiming her life, piece by precious piece. The journey back was a testament to Mom's incredible strength and our shared unwavering hope, a testament that love truly is the most powerful medicine. Today, Mom is not entirely cured, in the traditional sense, but she is transformed. The symptoms that plagued her for years, the ones 100 doctors couldn't explain or treat, are largely gone. Her tremors are minimal, her speech is clear, and her memory is sharp. She's back to being the vibrant, witty woman I always knew, albeit with a profound appreciation for every single moment. We've learned that healing isn't always about a pill or a procedure. Sometimes it's about listening to your intuition, challenging the status quo, and never giving up on the people you love. The key lesson we learned is that the body has an incredible capacity to heal, given the right support and the removal of the underlying causes. Sometimes those causes are hidden in plain sight, and it takes an unconventional approach, and a whole lot of love, to uncover them. Our story is a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of advocating for yourself and your loved ones, and the surprising places you can find answers when traditional paths fail. If you or someone you know is struggling with an undiagnosed illness, I urge you to look beyond conventional medicine, to trust your instincts, and to explore every avenue. Your body has its own language, and sometimes you just need to find the right translator. What invisible battles are you fighting, or have you fought for someone you love? What has your journey taught you about resilience and the power of unconventional thinking? Remember, sometimes the greatest healing comes not from a prescription, but from the unwavering belief of a single heart.